Welcome. StreamYard says we're live, which means that we're live. At least if I can trust StreamYard. But yeah, no, we're here on the day of the alleged Pro Bowl. Alleged Pro Bowl. It may or may not have happened, honestly.
Don't ask me.
Wouldn't know the difference, really. Nobody watched it, apparently. And those who watched it said that it sucked. So, did you watch it? Because
I forgot it was even on.
You forgot it was on. Okay. That sounds good. Yeah, forget it's on. Honestly, not worth it. Not worth watching. But yeah, so other than that, let's see. What else has happened? What else can we talk about? There are a lot of things, but it was kind of a quiet week.
It was a quiet week in terms of NFL action, of course. It's always a quiet week. And then what are we going to get? Media Day midweek here, and it's going to ramp back up again to the excitement of the Super Bowl. I mean, the Senior Bowl happened, so like there's some dynasty, aspects there with Malik Willis showing out at the Senior Bowl in a rainy practice.
Yeah, tell me more about that. I didn't watch the Senior Bowl.
I didn't watch the Senior Bowl either. I watched his highlights. There's a quick 2-minute video of all of his snaps during not the practices, but the game. He did an impressive 40-yard run. Like, he's shown some good mobility, and we have to talk about if he gets the draft capital, where is he going to fall in these super flex rookie drafts? We're getting close.
Well,
we're getting very close.
At this point, I think that it's pretty clear that Matt Corral is going to be a first-round pick, probably top half of the first round, somewhere in there. And now I think that there was talk about Malik Willis going to Pittsburgh, but I don't think he's going to be there at 20. It is right. Pittsburgh is at 20. I don't think he's going to last that long. Do you? Because I don't think so. So, I think there's going to be two already quarterbacks that are going to probably be in the top 15. And that doesn't even include, Pickett and Howell, Carson Strong, maybe, Desmond Ridder. We'll see about those two.
Yeah, we'll see. But I think this week defined Malik Willis, his floor. It defined his floor. Willis's floor.
I think
he's falling past 20, right?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think he's going to be in the first round. I just think his ceiling. I mean, what's his ceiling really? 6 to Carolina.
6 to Carolina, yeah.
Carolina.
I mean, Detroit really likes him, but I feel like they'd find a way to trade up from 20 or 31 or 32, wherever their pick lands. Obviously, with the game this weekend, but
yeah, the other pick is 2, and I don't think
they're. I don't think they're going to take him at 2, but if they really like him,
the Giants are 5 and 7. They could be a wild card, but I don't see it. I don't think they're going to do that, but they could be a wild card.
Yeah, so I really like that we know for a fact Malik Willis is getting first round draft capital, because I know that was a question.
100%.
It was a question leading up to Senior Bowl week, I believe.
Yeah, no, I think for now we have 2 quarterbacks that are pretty much a guarantee. What about Kenny Pickett? How guaranteed do you think he is?
I'm willing to lock him in as the third. I think we get 3. I really want to see Sam Howell go in the first, but
yeah, no, he's the one that I'm kind of. I don't want to say I'm doubting him, but I'm not sure he gets the draft capital. But didn't he do well at the Senior Bowl? I mean,
Malik Willis was the only standout.
He wasn't a standout like Malik. Malik Willis was the talk of the. I mean, I didn't pay much attention to it, and I heard about him.
Oh, he was the talk of everything.
Yeah, so this draft here from Pro Football Network, this one after the Senior Bowl, they have, and this is a good transition us into a new topic. They have Malik Willis going at 11 as a first quarterback to the Commanders. The Commanders. Now they're the Commanders. Kind of like. I mean, I don't like the name, but that's what they have. They have a Willis as the first quarterback going to the Commanders.
Jerseys are sick.
I
like the jerseys. I don't like the name. I like the jerseys.
And then Pickett at 20 to the Steelers, and Corral at 27 to Tampa Bay, which I don't buy. That seems, I don't buy. And then Howell at 32. to the Lions from the Rams. So, I don't buy it on Corral going that late. But they have 4 quarterbacks in the first. I do think Detroit would consider a quarterback if there's one that they like at 31 or 32. I think they'd consider it for sure. But we'll see who gets there. But I don't think that I do think there are going to be 4 quarterbacks selected in the first. I think it's going to be those 4. But unlike last year, I think some of those 4 might be in the latter half of the round. But I do think Corral is not going to go up 27. I think Corral's going to be much earlier. Pittsburgh at 20, I think, is going to pick somebody. And then, I think Detroit could close the round with a quarterback at the end. Because they're the one team down there that really needs Tampa Bay also, 27. Could be interested in a quarterback. I do think there's one wild card. At the end of the first round for quarterback. Green Bay.
Ooh,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Because Jordan Love is so bad. We cannot have that. We can't have that. It's just not. You're not going to be able to have that on an NFL field. That won't work. You can't have someone who's that bad be your starting quarterback. So if they decide to move on from Aaron Rodgers, I think Green Bay could be a wild card. Just give up on Jordan Love. Trade him for a third and just cut your losses. I do think so. I think that could be interesting.
I think it could be interesting as well. I don't know what's going to happen this draft with the offensive skill players. It's anyone's guess. So I couldn't tell.
Yeah, there could be a lot of receivers taken in the first round. New Orleans at 18 is also another kind of a wild card team for a quarterback. I do think there are 4 quarterbacks taken in the first, though. I really do. And I think it's the 4. I don't know if anyone else is going to make it into the first, though.
Yeah, the wide receiver spots, I've been looking at them. They don't look as appealing for fantasy as I would have liked, to be quite honest with you.
Well, we have no idea if that's going to come to pass. But in that draft from Pro Football Network, they have their first receiver as Garrett Wilson going to the Falcons, which I don't like that. It's fine, but could be a better spot than that. And the next one, Treylon Burks at 13 to the Browns, which hate that. I don't know if is that better or worse
than Atlanta? I think it's worse than Atlanta.
I think it's worse too. Because I think Atlanta's closer to getting a competent quarterback to replace their current one than Cleveland. And then, 15, Drake London to the Eagles is also bad. I've talked a lot about the Eagles and how I don't want more receivers to go there. And then Chris Olave to the Saints. So also terrible. I don't like that. Yeah, no, it's all bad. Yeah, it's all really bad. Okay, no. Well, depending on who the quarterback is, Jameson Williams, the Packers, that could be good. If Aaron Rodgers is still there, that might be okay. If Aaron Rodgers is not there, then not so great. No running backs in the first round. That's not a surprise. I think the chances of a running back being in the first round this year are zero. Not zero, but remote.
0.1.
Not 0.1. Remote. I think that it's possible, but I don't see it. And also, Detroit is at the end, and Detroit and Cincinnati have the last 2 picks. They're not going to be picking running backs. In Kansas City at 30, it's not going to pick another running back in the first round. Miami at 29 is probably the best hope for a running back to go in the first. Maybe if there's someone they really like, but I don't think so. I don't think Breece Hall is worth the first. So
no, the hope for one of these wide receivers is Mike Williams leaves LA and someone slides in to replace him. Because I don't want to see these wide receivers going to the Eagles, the Saints.
Yeah, if you look at the top 10, Jacksonville and Detroit are not going to pick receivers in the first 2 picks. Houston, I don't think is going to pick a receiver. I don't think there's a receiver worthy of 3rd overall. So, and then it goes Jets, Giants, Carolina, who is not picking they're not going to pick a receiver. I don't think they don't have room for another receiver. Not that early. And the Giants again, Atlanta, which is bad, Denver, who's full, and then the Jets again. So, and then Commanders next, which is not good either. So, yeah, landing, and then it goes Minnesota, which is not good, Cleveland, and then the biggest landmine of all, but I don't think anyone's going to go there, is Baltimore. That would be the worst of everything. And then it's Philadelphia. So, really, if a wide receiver is picked early, there's nowhere good they're going to go. I guess of everywhere, Carolina is maybe the best if it's with Deshaun Watson. Maybe Denver with Aaron Rodgers, but they'd be pretty full. The options are bleak early on, really.
Yeah.
They're all bad. I mean, they're some of the worst landing spots in the league. Philadelphia and Cleveland are up there on worst possible for me. Washington is not much better. So, but yeah, I have the Chargers at 17 circled also. I have them circled. That one, I have them at 17 if they let Williams walk, like you said. It's not a great landing spot, but I have New England at 21. That could be, they need a real one. And then Arizona at 23. I just don't think Rondale Moore was good enough. If they let Kirk and Green walk, it would kill Rondale Moore's value, but they have an opening. And Vegas also. Vegas at 22. Vegas doesn't have anything at outside receiver at all. So they could be up there. But yeah, it might, and obviously Kansas City at 30. That one.
Every
year, but that one is up on the list. And then, you have bad landing spots in there. Tennessee at 26. That one is bad. You don't want to go there. And Detroit at 32. Be bad. So Pittsburgh at 20 somehow would also be very bad. All right. Some questions in chat. So if Burrow wins the Super Bowl, I just wrote about this from Craig. If Burrow wins the Super Bowl so young, will it move him up your dynasty ranks? What do you think about that? How much do you, I don't even know, put in playoffs? How do you feel about that?
I don't factor in playoffs much. And in Burrow's case, he's already pretty much maxed out for me. I don't think he's going to get much higher than he can now. I don't think he's going to hop Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. He's below Herbert for me right now. And I have him behind Kyler, which I really want to flip. And if I flip that, that's like his peak at 4. I have him at 5. So he's pretty much hit his ceiling for me.
Yeah. I mean, I have him at 6 behind Lamar. Lamar is younger than Burrow. Problem with Burrow is the rushing upside is not there. His rushing actually reduced this year versus last year after the injury. And we know what it takes to be this good as a pure passer. He had 118 rushing yards in 16 games or something like that. You can check that, but it was less than last year, and last year he only had 140. So in 10 games. So I just wrote this article today. Actually, I just wrote it. So I didn't talk too much about it, but he didn't really have any rushing, and he succeeded in his passing volume, and that's what, especially the touchdowns. But it's tough because you have to be like Tom Brady in Tampa to succeed in fantasy in this era without running. But I do think you have a core superflex asset for years, and that's worth a lot. So I have him at 6, but 6th overall in Superflex. So I'd be happy spending a first-round Superflex pick on him. But to answer this question, no, I don't think winning the Super Bowl would move him up my ranks, really. That doesn't. I mean, it would if it would, but it doesn't in this case. What are y'all's thoughts, Craig? Again, So that's on Jalen Tolbert. Malik Willis great, and so did Kenny Pickett. What do you think?
I mean, I haven't done like a deep dive on Jalen Tolbert. I don't watch much Southern Alabama.
Tolbert or Tolbert?
Tolbert.
Tolbert.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, we're gonna learn during this process that rookies are not my area of expertise. People last year, I would say people knew that 2 years ago for sure. This year, I just have so many followers that people are gonna ask, just assuming I know everything about everything. I will say, I'm gonna do my best. Take my rookie takes with a grain of salt. It's not my area of expertise. It's not something where I'm the smartest person you can. I legitimately think that if you picked anyone in the world to hold your hand through a dynasty startup, I would be your best choice. I don't think you pick someone better. I think I would be your best choice. For rookies, I could name off the top of my head 100 people I know who know more about rookies than me. I could. It isn't my area of expertise, but I will do my best, and that's all I promise. And that's all I ever promise. But you will find that I don't have the same encyclopedic knowledge about rookies that I might about once players have made it into the NFL. So just keep that in mind whenever I'm giving rookie takes. In this case, anyway, what do we think about Tolbert?
I haven't got to watch him much yet. I know he's a 6'3" burner, so 4.4 speed.
Yeah.
I'll
have to watch it more.
Yeah.
I think that something that's going to help us is when we get some good rookie ADP coming out. And that's, everyone knows I ride DLF. I do my show at DLF. DLF will do their rookie ADP after MFL rolls over the player database to 2022. So look out for that rookie ADP. The rankings are already live, and I would recommend checking that out if you have a DLF subscription. Definitely do that. But I think that the rookie ADP will actually be even more insightful because there are 10 mock drafts. That gives you a good idea of what a large quantity of people think. And that'll help you evaluate these players. So look for that. You should see it maybe, I would say, in about a week and a half. So it's something that really helps me get started on visualizing the rookie classes is that first set of rookie ADP data.
Yeah, this year's going to be wild too. So
yeah.
No chases, no Trevor Lawrence 101s.
Yeah, we don't have the same locked in. Reminds me a little bit of the 2019 class where Miles Sanders kind of came out of nowhere. We didn't have Miles Sanders on our minds in the middle of January. He just kind of appeared. It kind of reminds me a little more of that class. The last two classes, we've known a lot of the top players for a long time, very clear. Whereas in 2019, we were talking about Hakeem Butler and Kelvin Harmon as first-round picks in February and March. So, I think we're in for more of a class like that than we are a class like the last 2 years.
Yeah. I remember Hakeem Butler, the hype train was...
No, he was the 101 in rookie drafts in February and March. Kelvin Harmon was the 101 in February, and Hakeem Butler in March, I believe. So, wild. Malik Willis looked great. We already discussed. And then Kenny Pickett, and Craig adds that Pickett went 6 for 6 for 89 yards, a touchdown in the Senior Bowl. Yeah, I do think they're going to be 4 first-round quarterbacks. I think Howell is the one that's kind of on the fence for me. And, I don't really do draft pick blind evals. As in, I just don't. What's the point of that for me? I just don't do that. So once I start evaluating the prospects, it's with draft capital, expected draft capital kind of baked in. So, I'm baking that into the prospect. So right now I have Howell 4th on the list because he's the one I'm not sure is going to be a first rounder. Whereas I have, I have Corral 1st, Willis 2nd, and then Pickett 3rd at the moment.
I hope he gets that capital. I mean, right now, I think Willis is first for me, at least in a fantasy standpoint. I think he's going to get that draft capital.
Yeah, I'm still working on these ranks, obviously, but
we got a long time. We got 3 some months till we get there. We got a long road ahead. We still have the combine. We still have pro days.
We have time. Yeah, we have a lot of time.
Lots of time.
But yeah, I do expect that this is going to be a year where I'm not going to be going into the draft with very locked in rankings. I think I'm going to be going in with very fluid ranks and just kind of dumping the whole thing in the trash and ranking again after the draft. Just my suspicion. More so this year than the last two. More like 2019. This is really the fourth class where I've looked at this. 2019 being the first. Okay, from Craig again. In a Superflex league, what do you think of trading an early 23 first for all of this next part? Ayuk, Chark, Ridley, and the 2022 213 Superflex league. So, what do you think about this?
I'm going to hold.
So you want...
I want the early 23 first.
You want the early 23 first over all of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if I actually had an early 23 first, I don't think I'm going to trade it for 3 wide receivers I really don't want and a late second this year. I mean, I don't want Chark. I mean, I do, but Chark is a flyer. Chark is worth a mid to late second in a Superflex league at best. At best. Ayuk is worth what? I mean, I tell you where he's worth in my rankings and in a Superflex. He's worth... I have him as a late first. And then Ridley is worth, if we knew he was coming back, he would be a late first. If we didn't, he would be, who knows. But it just seems like a lot of maybe. An early 23 first could just be so much. Like, if that's Bijan Robinson, it's worth more than this other side by a lot. It's worth more than this other side's ceiling. If everything hits. If it's a quarterback that you can start, a high-end quarterback with top 5 draft capital, kind of the same thing. It's going to be worth more than this other side. So I guess I just don't want to do this. Like, if I'm trading my early 23 first, I want something better than a lot of maybe. So
I agree. I mean, I think next year in offseason startups, how the kickers take the name spots of draft picks. I think we could see 2 of those draft pick slots in round 1 of startups in 2023.
Ooh, that is very unlikely. That is like
I think we could. I think we could.
Yeah, that's very rare. It is possible, but it's rare. It's possible though. But also, like, if I had all these players, like, am I really dumping all of this into one first? Maybe not. So yeah, I'm probably not doing this trade either way. If I had the players, I'm probably trying to find something else. From Sage, what are the thoughts? I love this question. It's not what are your thoughts about the top 12 tight ends? What are the thoughts on the feedback from your top 12 tight ends? I mean, I feel like this is like a setup question for me, not set up in a bad way. Setup as in set up for me to like go off or something. Look. I said this in the thread. I'll say this again. If you're interacting with me on Twitter and the point of your comment is to get me personally to change my mind, just don't bother. Don't bother leaving that comment. That comment is a waste of your time and it's a waste of my time. How many times on Twitter do you think I've changed my mind based on the comments section on one of my tweets? How many times has that changed my mind? What do you think the answer to that question is?
It's definitely 0.
It's 0. It's 0. It has always been 0 because the odds that someone on Twitter is going to present me with new enough information that I have not already factored in based on the sources of information I actually consume, which is not Twitter. It's podcasts like the DLF podcast, Fantasy Pros podcast, Dynasty podcast there, the footballers. Just those are just some of the ones I listen to. Dynasty Theory is another one I listen to. That one I really like. It's another one I really enjoy. Locked On Dynasty is another one. Those are just a few examples of podcasts I listen to. Then there's the DLF tools, the DLF articles, other people's articles, other people's DLF YouTubes, Addison's shows, Shane's show. There are other shows. That's where I consume my information, plus my research of my own. the odds that a Twitter comment is going to present me something new that I have not seen are low. It has not happened. When it has, it's usually injury information that I was not aware of, because that's not something I usually research. It's just usually what it's been. It's been something about an injury that I did not know, especially during the season when I don't have a lot of time. But yeah, my thoughts on the feedback are generally the feedback is good. Most people are respectful. Most people are nice. Most people are fine with agree to disagree. You should be if you're interacting with me, because if you're not fine with that, you're probably wasting your time interacting with me on Twitter. I go to agree to disagree very fast because I don't really care if you change your mind. If you're a patron of mine, then I'll do a little bit better. I'll insist that you have to listen to me. You're paying me to basically tell you what to do in Dynasty. So I'll do a better job of insisting that you have to listen to me and you have to do it my way, because I want you to get the best out of what you're paying for. But if you're just commenting on Twitter, I do not care who you pick for your Dynasty. I don't care. It's your team, not mine. What wouldn't matter to me. So you pick whoever you want. I just, and that's the other thing about that is this why I encourage people to comment their views in the comment section. It's not for me. My opinion's not going to change. My opinion's not going to change. But what if someone goes through and reads the comment section? They can see my rankings. They can see the 50 or 60 people, whatever, 100 people who commented their comments, and then they can decide what's best for them based on my rankings, based on the comments. They can see what the people think, make a decision that way. So that's why I asked for the comments. It's certainly not for my sake. I often interact with the comments because I like interacting with people. I'm an extrovert. I'm an extroverted person. I enjoy interacting. But, the comments are not meant to debate me. That is not the point. I don't enjoy that. If you notice, none of my shows are a debate format. That's not the point. It happens. If it happens organically. But we don't do debate segments on here. I don't do debate segments with Cal. So, it's not what I'm looking for. It's not something I don't seek it out. I don't enjoy it generally. So that's my thoughts on the feedback from the top 12 tight ends. But again, there was a lot of feedback. Most of it was very respectful. And I'm always happy that people choose to interact with my tweets. I don't take that for granted. So, just for the 90 to 95% who interact nicely and respectfully, just know that I do appreciate each and every one of you. And I respect you for that. And it means a lot to me that you continue to come back to me. So I don't want that to go unheard. I want the people to hear that. And I think I do try my best to convey that in my comments, although it is difficult when there are thousands of comments a week. Sometimes I have to be a little short in my responses. You have anything to add about that? I don't know.
No, I mean, of course, just be nice and respectful, and Twitter's a good place when people are nice and respectful.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm even the nicest or the most respectful person. I'm not. I can be edgy. I can be a little short with people. I can be a little bit, arrogant, and I can be a little bit like I'm the best, and that kind of thing. Like I get it. I'm not delusional. I don't think whenever I often end up on lists of nicest person on Twitter or most humble, and I often comment, I'm like, thank you for including me in this. I do not agree with this. I would not say that about myself, but I appreciate that you see me that way. If it were most available, answers most questions, comments the most, most helpful, those things I'm fine with. But I'm aware that I can come off it a little bit. I can rub people the wrong way. I know that. And it's something that I'm working on, but I also recognize that over thousands of comments, it's gonna happen from time to time. And I don't want to be afraid to comment. I'd rather make the comments and, be there instead of worrying about that. Gus, welcome. This is no comment, just wishing you guys best of luck going forward. Thank you. I really appreciate that, especially when people from, my outside, Gus is not someone I know from Twitter. The people from my outside life come in and support my show. So I always appreciate that. I like my friends. From Marcus, Could any players lose value based on a bad Super Bowl performance? If so, who could it be and what would that take? Go for it.
I don't think anyone could lose value based on a bad Super Bowl performance. I hope there's no injuries. Injuries are going to be the only way.
So let's say injury. Then. Of course, an injury would be bad.
Yeah. But that's not a bad performance. So I think we're all, locked in place.
There's a lot of players in this game with stable values, aren't they? I mean, Chase is not going to change. Mixon, probably not either. Higgins, maybe a little. Boyd is already kind of in roster clogger range. Yeah, whose value is really going to drop? I think it's more likely that someone's value could rise. But again, who would that be? It would have to be someone off the radar who has a big game. So who even is in that category? Who is like an unestablished asset who could move? Like who do you even name?
I mean,
if Sony Michel had a huge game, I think that would help him because it would help his case in free agency. Van Jefferson, OBJ, maybe. Both of them, kind of their values, I think, are more open to change. Whereas I don't think, what are Chase Higgins or Boyd going to do to change their value or Mixon? I don't think anything. No matter what they do, their value is not really going to change.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Higgins moving up if he had a wild performance.
But he's already so high. How much higher is he going to move? And Chase being there caps his dynasty value ceiling no matter what. So it just kind of, I just don't think there's that much on the line.
That's fair. I mean, Kendall Blanton, who
did
pretty good last week.
Yeah, but again, that's someone who could gain value, not really lose. Because at the end of the day, these games are extra opportunities to prove things. I do think players are more likely to gain value from these games than they are to lose it. Kendall Blanton, like if Kendall Blanton has a monster game in the Super Bowl, he's going to gain a lot of value. But if he does nothing, he's not going to lose much because no one's expecting anything. Same thing with someone like Van Jefferson. I wish Jacob Harris were active, don't you?
Yeah.
I wish. Jacob, if anyone doesn't know, Jacob Harris was the Rams' 4th round choice this year at tight end rookie. And he has missed most of the season. And he was someone I was like constantly hyping up over the summer as having a good chance to do something. And I was not right. Oops. All right, mark this again. So he's talking about a 10-team, 1 QB, no premium league. He has Freiermuth, but wants to upgrade. Okay, Freiermuth is not bad if he's your tight end one. It's not bad. I could live with that. He has the 107, 223 first, and 323 seconds. What do I offer for Pitts, or do I go after Hawk? Well, this is difficult without knowing context. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, if it were me who had Pitts, you're probably not going to get him from me. I would generally recommend. I like going after Hawk. I do. And I got Fryer. I mean, you could maybe take Fryer in a second and get Hawk. Is that like? What do you think? Is that like realistic? I think it could be. People are so down on Hawk.
Yeah, after that late season finish when he was injured, kind of playing, kind of not, kind of thing. Really rubbed people. When you finish on a bad note, it hurts a lot more.
I know. People have, if there's one thing I can tell people, there's 2 things that affect people's memory more than anything. 2 things. You know what they are?
It's the last game they played and something else.
More basic than that, though. Generally, not just about football.
The first thing, the last
bias. Yeah. Recency bias and primacy bias. People remember people remember the last thing the most, but the thing they remember the second most is the first thing. So players who had strong stretches at the beginning and the end tend to have more value than those who had it in the middle. But really, you should value the end the most, followed by the middle, then the beginning. Because what was most recent actually matters more, but it doesn't work that way. People remember who hit in the beginning more than who hit in the middle. So the biggest advantage you can get is people who hit in the middle. Unfortunately, Hawk was so bad at the end that it canceled out his strong stretches at the beginning in people's minds. But like I said, Hawk would be a target for me. Try Freiermuth in a second. People are so down on TJ Hawkinson, right? I mean, so down that he improved his yards per game from 2020, right? That's a bad thing, right? We don't want players who improve their yards per game. That's something we are opposed to, right? Despite having a worse quarterback. We also wouldn't want a player who had more receptions per game in 2021 than he did in 2020. That must be a bad thing, right? Very bad, despite having a worse quarterback. Also, despite having a worse quarterback, we wouldn't have any interest in a player who actually caught more of his targets this year than he did last year. Higher percentage, the highest percentage of his career. So, which he's improved every year. So we wouldn't want that player, right? That sounds like a player who, what is he turning? He's just turned 24 this year. We would have no interest in such a player, right? We wouldn't want him. Despite the fact that tight ends usually don't break out until 25 years old. See the case? I mean, I know you know it, but if you're listening, you hear the case now for TJ Hawkinson, first round draft capital, 8th overall, has improved every year in the league, improved. The only thing it didn't improve this year was the health. He doesn't turn 25 until July. 25 is the key breakout age for tight ends. Now is your chance. Just saying. I do think he's one of my biggest buys in all of Dynasty, TJ Hawkinson. People are sleeping on him. They're just seeing that he didn't help their fantasy teams. They're not looking beyond that. Just my take.
I don't even think I consider those 3 first with Freiermuth for Pitts. I don't even know if I would.
I don't think you offer for Pitts. I think that's
it's so hard.
You can't. Pitts is. I think you go after Hawk at a cheaper price. A second in Freiermuth, I think you get him for that. The second Freiermuth and a 23 second, I think you get Hawk for that. I would do it.
Yeah.
But no, you can't. You can't get Pitts right now. You can't. And Craig actually says it himself. He says, Craig says that he thinks that Pitts is damn near untouchable. Hawk could probably be had much easier. So again, we agree on that. But if you can get Pitts, go for it. But you cannot get Pitts. So unfortunately, I would have to settle for Hawk. But I would like to get Pitts on my team. I think that people they hold him in like a vice grip.
Yeah, where do you even start for like Pitts? Like
you don't. You don't. It's like trying to construct an offer for Jamar Chase. You just don't, right? Ed chimes in here too. He's tried to get Pitts all over and it isn't happening. Because I think that people are in on Pitts. I mean, remember the discussion we just had about TJ Hawkinson? We just had a discussion about how after 3 years, TJ Hawkinson is he's doing great, right? He's doing great. He's on the trajectory you want a star tight end to be on that trajectory. Now, Kyle Pitts had far more yards in his rookie year than TJ Hawkinson had in any of his seasons. Far more, right? So more, generally, do we want players who had more yards or less yards? More or less? We want more, usually. More is good. So Kyle Pitts, again, more receptions in his rookie year than TJ Hawkinson had in any of his years. Any of them. So again, that sounds good, right? The only reason we don't like Kyle Pitts' rookie season is because he had 1 touchdown. Touchdowns are fluky. Receptions, targets, and yards are not. This is why Pitts is untouchable and why I would love to get him, but you can't. But draft him as a startup if you can. But you can't acquire him. Right? I mean, I haven't seen anyone succeed, really.
No. It's the position. I mean, I've seen people go after Chase and get him. It's still possible.
It's hard because there's multiple versions of Chase. There's a Jefferson. There isn't another Kyle Pitts. So kind of in a bind there. All right. From Craig, in 12-team Superflex, what is the earliest second-round pick you would send for Chark? I have an answer, but why don't you give it a ballpark? And
I'd probably ballpark it right after what Craig said, probably 207, 208. I just took the 208 before I'm in a startup, so in a 14 team. So
yeah, no, we're close. I'm between the 209 and the 210, so 210 in that case. For Chark, 210 for Chark. And then Craig says he's so damn excited for Jacob Harris next year if he can stay healthy. Don't get me started. I wasted so much time on that hype train. And then Craig is really glad he got Kyle Pitts in a startup last year. I'm with you. I'm with you, Mitch. I wish I had drafted him more. It was a mistake. It was a mistake for me. I should have been more in on him. I got it wrong. I mean, I don't want to say I got it horribly wrong. I ranked him as the tight end 1 after week 1, so I was pretty quick, but I should have been quicker. I'll own that.
I wish I drafted him more too.
I wish I could learn the lesson though, because there's not going to be another prospect like that. I actually think people are going to overcorrect on the lesson, and they're going to move up other tight ends more than they should.
Yeah, there might be in 20 to 25 years.
And you think I'm going to be doing this in 20, 25 years?
Hey, you might be drafted a Dynasty team on some VR board somewhere in space.
I'll tell you that there is a 0% chance I'm doing this in 20 or 25 years. At best, maybe I have like 10 years left. I'm not the kind of person who's going to want to do one thing for my whole life. Like, I would love it if I got a real full-time job in this industry. Did it for a while. 10 years. Like, I could easily see doing another 10 years of this. But, then I'll be 37 and I might want, to do something else for the rest of my life. But I'm not going anywhere. I want to keep doing this for now anyway, for quite a while.
So do you think people are going to overcorrect on Michael Mayer next year?
Probably.
Because he's going to get that first round capital probably. I don't know.
Oh, he will. But there isn't going to be another Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, there's no way he tests as well as Kyle Pitts. There's zero chance.
Yeah, nobody really has except Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis. Go look at Vernon Davis's combine numbers if you want something. You think Noah Fant and Evan Ingram more athletic? Vernon Davis is another story.
Yeah.
I mean, it is insane. What what he did at the combine. He ran, despite being over 250 pounds, he ran a 4.38 in the 40. So I love it.
Absolute insane.
Yeah, Ed said Vernon Davis was super freak. Absolutely. People only remember him on the back end of his career, but he was a monster. But, like Noah Fant and Evan Ingram, I mean, those players have a long way to go to be Vernon Davis in their career. But Vernon Davis was never a fantasy superstar. Never. Because athleticism isn't everything. So I sometimes I worry about the athletic freaks unless they come with Kyle Pitts' receiving chops, which he has. None of them did. That's why he was the 4th overall pick, and none of them were. All right, Ed says he's offered Kittle plus for Pitts in 2 different leagues and was told there was no plus unless we're talking multiple firsts. So that gives you an idea. So you'd have to pay Kittle and multiple firsts in Ed's leagues to get Kyle Pitts. So I don't think we're doing that, right? We're not doing that. We're not giving Kittle in 2 firsts to get Pitts. Like that's great, but I'm just not mortgaging my entire team to do that.
That was the price of Pitts before Kittle straight up.
Yeah, so I just am not adding multiple firsts. Are you?
I see why the ask is that high, but I don't.
Oh, that might be my ask. I mean, if I had Pitts, that's probably what I'm asking. But, well, we're gonna have to interrupt the show for some breaking news.
Oh boy,
this is not good. This is very bad.
Oh.
This is very bad. So we're gonna have to change the tone of the show immediately. This is bad. So let's take a more serious tone. So we're gonna have to do that. It says right here, it's from Adam Schefter and the Las Vegas Municipal Police Department. That's what it says. And, I'm just getting this just coming in front of my eyes right now. So I have no idea what this is going to say. So I'll read it for you. Las Vegas police arrested Saints running back Alvin Kamara after today's Pro Bowl. So that's already bad. Let's see. Okay. NFL player arrested for battery resulting in substantial bodily harm. That's bad. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Kamara was transported to the detention center where he was booked for battery resulting in substantial bodily harm. So this is bad. Well, yeah, like I mean, what do I say? What do we say about this? This is just coming, in front of my eyes now. I don't know.
I'm looking at the press release by the Las Vegas Police Department.
That's what I was looking at.
I'm trying to get more details. I guess this happened right after the Pro Bowl ended.
Oh, it looks like it happened before. It looks like it happened yesterday.
Oh, February 5th. Yeah.
But the booking was after. I mean, it's being retweeted by Rappaport, Schefter, Ari Meyer, My Sports Update. So, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, my Saints capsule was supposed to be published tomorrow. I assume I'm not going to rewrite it, but you can take whatever I say about Kamara and dump it if this is true.
I was wondering because I clicked on a league during the show because it said someone put someone on the trade block. You always examine it. Someone put Kamara, of course, on the league in my trade block. So I guess I don't know.
When do they put him on the block?
They put him on 15 minutes ago. So
yeah. So
I guess that's why I was trying to look for stuff on Kamara. I just didn't,
I mean, there's not a lot of information. So an incident in a nightclub. So I don't know. That could mean anything. That's bad. I would say that a domestic incident would be worse, generally. If we're talking about suspensions, a domestic incident would be worse than an incident in a nightclub, but a nightclub is still bad. Look, it's very simple. The NFL is arrested and charged, is going to suspend him for 6 games. It's simple. So we have some comments attached. So Robert's asking if this could end Kamara's career. Yeah, running back at that age, yes. I don't know. Okay. Well, I don't know. It's tough. I don't really know what to say, right? What do we say?
There's nothing really to say.
I would say that there were some people talking about Dalvin Cook's legal situation, but I think that's more, hearsay. There was no arrest. There was no charge. There was a civil suit that we never heard more from. So that was more, smoke. Because something could still come out of that. And something I remind people is out there and take it as a risk during the offseason. But, I've generally leaned on the side that will not affect Cook's availability for the 2022 season in any way. I don't feel the same way about this. He's already been arrested. You can't just, there's going to be no way to brush it off. You're not going to be able to be like, well, that was nothing. I mean, he was arrested for battery charges. So that is not going to vanish. It's not going to disappear. We're not going to just forget it happened. But yeah, it depends on what it is, right? It depends on what it is.
Yeah. We need more details.
Yeah, we need a lot more detail. A lot more detail. Who did he hit? How badly are they hurt? Is there a video? How bad is the video? All of these things. I mean, as someone who has a master's degree in sports management, I would know more about this than most. Obviously, I don't have any extra information about this specific incident, but about how this would be handled. And I do think that there's going to be a suspension of some kind. Look, I would say if you're in a draft now, and I even hate that this comes up, but I have to talk about it because there are people in this situation and they're going to count on me to tell them what to do. Right. Would you just not draft him? I mean, if he gets a massive suspension, you're looking at a 27-year-old running back who has a suspension. I mean, that's not an asset you want. Where would you even draft him at this point? I'm probably going to drop him a whole round from wherever I had him before.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, it's tough we don't know the situation. He went 3-4 in the most recent startup I did. I'd be taking.
That's already way too high for me anyway. I mean, I was never going to have Alvin Kamara because I'm just not going to draft a 27-year-old running back on a horrible offense ever. So I was never going to have him on my team. I don't have him on any of my teams. None of my patrons do, unless I inherited a team with Kamara. So I would just move on because I've recommended him as a sell anyway, and I'm not starting with that. I'm going to wait. I've been begging people to move on from Kamara. Obviously, I could not have foreseen this. But since I already wanted to move on from Kamara, I'm not going to get, okay. With Tyreek Hill and Tyreek Hill in the past, the problem with selling Tyreek Hill is if you were wrong, and essentially we were wrong, he came back and it's like the legal issues never happened. Essentially, right? You can talk about them, but from a suspension perspective, from an NFL perspective, it's like they never happened. And if you sold Tyreek Hill low, you gave up a 25-year-old wide receiver 1 for 3 seasons. That's still only going to turn 28 in a month. You got demolished. If you sold Deshaun Watson low and he comes back and you gave away a fantasy quarterback 1 for 10 years in a dynasty league, you're getting killed. It's just a disaster. You can't afford to do it. This is not those cases. This is a different scenario. You're giving up an aging running back who's already 27, who is never going to have especially not now, is never going to have the dynasty value again. I don't want to be a part of this situation with an older running back who now is arrested for battery charges. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want him on my team. I would like to move on from him. If I have to take a massive loss, I am okay with that. I don't have any shares of Kamara that I would have drafted this offseason because I never would have drafted him. If I had existing shares, just take the loss and move on. I don't. This is going to play out for months. There is some thing in Dynasty, something to be said for not having to deal with these situations. And you can choose to do that by either just not bothering to try to trade them, pretending the player doesn't exist, and treating it that way. Or you can do what I'm recommending and just once and for all try to wash your hands of this situation. And then he will be someone else's problem, and you don't have to deal with this. I would not draft him in a startup no matter what. I don't care. It's 3 rounds for I don't care. I don't need I don't need the aging running back who has an indeterminate suspension hanging over my head. So I will let someone else pick him. He's off my draft board completely.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I do want to get more details, but that's just for
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to get more details because I want to know what's happening.
Yeah.
But I'm invested in this scenario from the perspective of that this is important, and assault and battery is wrong, and it's a crime, and Alvin Kamara is a public figure. That's a bad example for people. So I want to make it clear that this is, look, I'm probably never going to like Alvin Kamara again. Just from a perspective of that. I'm probably never going to like him again. I probably won't. I probably won't like him. So, I don't tell other people what to do based on the players that I like. But, you can tell when I don't like a player based on something that's not about football. Same thing. I probably won't ever like Deshaun Watson again. He might play well again, but I'm not sure. I'll never like him. You'll never hear me glow or gush about him. I'll talk about him, but I'll always you'll always hear it in my voice. So just keep that in mind when I talk about Kamara in the future. All right. Jacob says pick up all the depth running backs on the Saints. I mean, sure. I'm slightly more interested in Mark Ingram was extended to a contract for next year. And Tony Jones is still there, but unfortunately there's two of them. And this reminds me a little bit of the Bengals situation, which I wrote up today, which is just the boring, uninspiring veteran who leads the depth chart, Ingram and Pirine. And there's the young player who has more upside, but isn't even the backup in Jones and Evans. So I guess I would pick them up, right? But I'm not expecting much. And, I mean, I hear you, but, if it's all, look, I hear you, but this is the way the world works. I can choose not to like anyone for any reason. There's a reason that the legal system is innocent until proven guilty. There's a reason that's the legal system. The who Tyler likes system doesn't work that way. A lot of people on Twitter I don't like. They didn't commit any crimes. A lot of people in the world who I don't like. So, yeah. In the court of does Tyler like you, it's not innocent until proven guilty. That's a different court. I don't decide legal things. There's a reason why legal charges are not based on the does Tyler like you court. Because that court is a little different. It's based on my emotions and my feelings, and I'm a person. I'm a human being first, and I'm gonna be the human being that I want to be. So this is the human being I want to be in this case.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm really fine with siding against people who are charged with assault. I think I'm fine with that. I don't have any problem with that. And then if they're innocent and it's proven innocent, then I can come back to them. But I'm fine with just siding against them. Personally, I'm okay with that. From Damon in a 10-team superflex. So weird it's weird to transition. Honestly.
Yeah, it's weird to jump back.
But I'm a professional. I'll do it. I honestly it is what it is. We did the same thing with the Ruggs incident when it happened. I mean, look, in that incident, someone died. Multiple people, I believe. Someone died, but
it was a woman and her dog, I believe.
Okay, so a woman and a dog, but still, someone died, and we had to. If I want to have a job in this space, you have to talk about fantasy impacts, even if it's hard. And I did that in that case with the other Raiders players. I had to. And I still have talked about and mentioned Ruggs later. I truly believe that Derek Carr would have had a monster fantasy season if Ruggs had stayed in the lineup. And without him, that offense sputtered. They needed the speed element that Ruggs brought to the table. And that was a way more serious situation than this. Someone died, but we still talk about it. So the same thing goes here. And, you know, if you're in the comments trying to talk about this, you're wasting your time. You're not. Do you want to talk about something you're never going to change my mind on? It's like my feelings and how I morally am as a person. If you have an opinion on that, I will tell you, keep it to yourself. This is something where I am not interested. Unless you know me. If you know me personally, if you've had a conversation with me personally, please share your thoughts with me in a DM. But on here, keep that to yourself. All right. From Damon. Hey, guys, in a 10-team Superflex, I have 3 seconds, early, mid, and late. Would you hold these or try to package or move all 3 to move up into the first? That depends on your league, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with an early second in a 10-team Superflex. I feel like there's a tier break at a certain spot. We'll know better with landing spots after the draft, but it definitely happens before 10. So depends on where you're trying to move up to.
Yeah. I mean, that depends on what the offer is. That depends on, you know, what your league mates can. Generally, I prefer the one, the side of 1 over the side of 2 or 3, usually, because that gives you extra room to stash deeper players later, right? Like generally, if it's close, I prefer the side of 1. But that depends on value. And this class is relatively flat. So I'm moving up less, I would say, than normal and holding the deeper picks more. But again, present a specific offer, maybe, and I'll weigh in on that offer. I think that'll be more helpful than trying to give a generalized advice on this.
Last year, if it was you were hopping in the top 10, you were taking that offer no matter what, really, because you were getting like Javonte Williams or Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith type.
Yeah, there was like a group of 10.
Yeah. Javonte was the cutoff, and he's the Dynasty like RB 3 or 4 now. So
yeah, Javonte was the 10. But you know, Waddle was after that, and
yeah,
you know, Waddle was and Zach Wilson was ahead of it, and whoopsie, right? Like that didn't work. So what do we really know, right? Like sometimes we think we know, but you know, the rookie at the end of the day, like rookie classes are kind of a little bit of a crapshoot sometimes, and I think this year is going to be a crapshoot more than others.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that aspect. I mean,
yeah.
The wide receiver class is strong in depth. I think we'll have decent players in the early second round at the wide receiver position. But farther than that, I can't tell you how this class is going to shape out.
Yeah, I mean, I know that a bunch of wide receivers are going to go in the first round. But other than that, I'm with you in not having a lot of confidence.
If you're moving in the mid first, though, I'd probably try and take it. If you're moving into that 5-6 range, I'll presume, say, a Matt Corral, if he doesn't go super high, or a Garrett Wilson will be there. So,
yeah. I mean, we'll see. It's I mean, you know, I said I wanted news, right? This is not what I wanted. I wanted to just make fun of the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. Oh.
It's going to be really tough for me on SDLF because Cal's a Saints fan. So I'm sure he's going to know even more about this than I will. But, for now, I will tell you that I have spotted Alvin Kamara. I've moved him down to running back far enough down that I won't get him. But where I put the ranking is not even my ranking. This is what I would tell my patrons to do, because that's really what the rankings are. This is a case where I'm not sure I would even do what I told them to do. I would tell them, hey, look, you can take him here, but for me, I'll pass entirely on Alvin Kamara. But I did move him to a spot in my rankings, and that'll come out. For Patreon, that'll probably come out after I'm done recording. I will update those for you. Super Bowl is next week.
Yeah.
By this time, we'll probably have a Super Bowl winner.
Yeah, we will.
And it says you can trade those picks on the clock. Yeah, absolutely. Who do you have as your Super Bowl winner pick, by the way?
I cannot pick against Cincinnati. They've carried me thus far. I picked them every week. I picked them to go to the bowl. I picked them to win. I picked the team that they're playing wrong, but Cincinnati's going to pull it out. Joe Burrow's magic.
I want Cincinnati to win, but honestly, I'd be fine with the Rams winning. I like Matthew Stafford a lot.
Oh yeah, it's not a year where it's like, Brady's gonna win another one. It's not one of those years. But I'm okay with the Rams winning too. But like I said, the Bengals are just a magical story. Like we talked afterwards, where I had them on the power rankings for this year, coming into this year. I'm pretty sure I had them at 24. Like, this is a Cinderella story.
Yeah, that's true. All right, from Damon, out of the fringe group, that's funny. Who do you guys think will be a starter somewhere next year? Trubisky, Mariota, Minshew. I'm sure I'm missing someone else in that field. Yeah, okay. I would add Teddy Bridgewater to that group as Minshew's not a free agent. I mean, Trubisky, Mariota, Bridgewater are the main ones that are free agents. Winston, of course. Do you think any of them get a starting job?
You know who I want to say, so you go first.
I think Winston gets a starting job. I think Winston is Tampa Bay's quarterback. You know this. You know how I've said this. I don't think anyone's going to want to be New Orleans quarterback. Nah, especially not now. So it's even worse now. $74 million over the cap too. So I think Jameis going back to New Orleans, the book on that closed when Sean Payton retired, but I think now it's just getting worse and worse and worse. So I don't think he's not going back there. I legitimately think Jameis could be the quarterback in Tampa. I really do.
Yeah, I think they'll get out of that cap situation, because I was looking at, someone posted a chart the other day that they could restructure a lot of that and go well under the cap, but there's not enough talent to want to come back.
Yeah, that's just kicking the can down the road with players you don't want anyway. So I don't know about that. But I do think Jameis gets a starting job. But what about the rest of the group, plus Teddy?
I want Trubisky to get a starting job. He was done so dirty in Chicago by Matt Nagy.
It's not going to happen.
I want it to.
Where would it happen, though?
I know. We were theorizing it would be with Dable, but that's not going to happen now that he took the Giants job. So
I do think that there's a chance Trubisky signs somewhere as more of a legitimate backup, like a backup that could go in the game. Someone is going to take the New Orleans job, at least temporarily. That could be him. But if it's not him, then, I think he has a good chance he signs with the Giants. Or in Cleveland.
Like he's sneaky.
Yeah. Somewhere, or perhaps Green Bay behind Love, if Rodgers goes. Maybe in Detroit. Somewhere where if the current starter, Atlanta, if Ryan really starts to falter down the stretch, somewhere if the current starter plays poorly, that he could get a legitimate chance to start, where obviously Josh Allen is not getting benched. So I do think Trubisky is going to sign somewhere like that. Mariota, I think is. I think I've seen enough of Marcus Mariota as a starting quarterback. Like I think I'm good. Do you disagree, or do you see that differently? Because I think I'm done with Marcus Mariota as a potential starter. I don't think I need to see that again. Personally.
See, on one side, I agree. At the other side, every time he came in for the Raiders, he was electric. He wasn't better than Derek Carr was this year by any means, but it kind of feels like he was teetering on that 32 line, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't think he is. He reminds me a little bit of Tyrod Taylor. He's fine, but you really should not sign him to be a starter. He's only a starter if you end up with something like the Deshaun Watson situation. You sign Tyrod Taylor, then you can't convince Deshaun Watson to come back. You get something like that. Maybe he's the starter, but I don't think anyone is ever signing Marcus Mariota to be their starter in tension. What did he show on the Raiders, really? Yeah, he had a play here, a play there. But, like, he never really started. He never really had any significant time. What did he show that he's better than what he was before? He had 4 years plus. What did he show to change people's minds? I just don't think
he was kind of dealt one of the worst hands possible in those 4 years.
Not an excuse. He was terrible in 2019. Ryan Tannehill comes in and is suddenly good. What's the excuse?
That's just insane. I can't believe that happened.
But the excuse is what exactly?
It really did eliminate his excuses, but I still think
there are no excuses.
I think he's going to do what you said with Trubisky. He's going to sign somewhere, kind of compete.
No, I think he's going to be the opposite. I think he's going to sign in the role that Trubisky has now, because I think that's what he can get, is a legitimate backup job on a playoff team that needs a quarterback who can potentially come in and play a legitimate game if the starter goes down. I think that's what he's gonna do. Could be where he is now. It could be in New England. It could be in Buffalo. Could be the Chiefs. There are a lot of places that need a player like this. So, I think he's going to go somewhere like that. I just don't see him as the same level as the others. Minshew, it's interesting. I don't think someone trades for Minshew to be. I mean, the Eagles just traded for Minshew to be a backup. But I don't think. I guess someone else could do that. But
he could request a trade out to get a better opportunity. He walked into Howie Roseman's office. I remember this midseason. He walked into Howie Roseman's office. He's like, "Howie, what can I do to start?" And Howie's just like, "Nothing." So maybe he wants out. I don't know.
I just think he's on one of the teams where has the best chance of winning the job. I mean, where's he going to go that's better? No, I legitimately think, though, Minshew, when he hits free agency next year, is going to be more like how I think of Jameis now. Someone who I think will get a nominal starting job. Nominal as in that starting job is very tenuous. But Minshew is someone that long-term I do have interest in.
Yeah.
Mariota, I think, has burned out all his chances. Trubisky is right on the line. Teddy Bridgewater, he was competent. Teddy Bridgewater is the one I think is like teetering on the 25 to 32. Like, you think Denver re-signs him? I actually think that is not that. If they don't get Rodgers, I think they'll re-sign Bridgewater and look at a quarterback in the draft again.
I agree. Yeah, maybe someone like Willis, Pickett.
Yeah, but Rodgers is their first choice.
200%. I mean,
we know
they passed on Justin Fields thinking Aaron Rodgers is going to be available then. So
I think that Bridgewater's like right on the line. Like, I think Jameis starts. Everyone else doesn't. And Bridgewater is the one that's kind of up in the air for me. Very up in the air. I think he's like right on the line. Like Trubisky doesn't. Mariota doesn't. But Bridgewater is the biggest, is a maybe for me. Maybe. I mean, Pittsburgh could sign him. I mean, he'd be better than. I think there are teams where he'd be better than what they have.
That's true, but I still think Trubisky deserves another chance. I'm gonna solely remain in that camp till.
I'd rather see Trubisky have another chance than Mariota have another chance. Minshew's the one I want to see the most, probably of the bunch, but he's not a free agent.
Yeah, I remember. What was it? 2 years ago, I remember the stretch where Nagy took away play calling and gave it to Bill Lazor in the offense, and Mr. Trubisky just hit another level.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that someone signs in. It's not going to be Taysom Hill. So with Sean Payton, someone is going to sign in New Orleans and start week 1 after, while they may or may not draft a rookie who's not ready. So someone is going to do that. That could be Jameis, Teddy, or Trubisky. It's going to probably be one of those 3 because they can't afford Jimmy G. So one of those 3 is probably going to sign there. And
well,
then
Jimmy G wants a winning team, so
yeah, but then one of those 3 doesn't go there. Plus Jimmy G is going to go to Tampa. Someone is going to go to Tampa. One of those 3 or Jimmy G because they can afford him. The cap is not as bad. We'll go to Tampa. So someone's going to go there. Jimmy G is going to go somewhere. And then Pittsburgh is up in the air. Denver are a couple potential options who may or may not get Rodgers. So, yeah, I would say if I had to predict, if I just get a prediction, Jimmy is traded to the Steelers. Jameis signs in Tampa. And Teddy is the one who re-signs in New Orleans. Trubisky ends up in New York as a legitimate backup to Daniel Jones. That's kind of my prediction. Denver ends up getting Rodgers, and they don't participate in this sweepstakes. But that's I think that's my prediction for what happens. But there are obviously many potential options.
You could go many ways. I think Jimmy G ends up in Washington, which I think that's another spot.
With the Commanders, yeah, I think that is very possible. To me, Jimmy G are the Steelers and Commanders are the two most likely. Who do you think though needs him more?
Oof. Steelers. I feel like it's Pittsburgh.
Steelers are more in a win now mode. Whereas I think the Commanders with Rivera, and yeah, Rivera's not the youngest coach, but I feel like Rivera is more okay with a time process. It's more time. He's not getting fired or anything. And I think that, he needs to build up a little bit more. I don't think they're not a win now team. I don't see him as that anyway. So I just think that's cutting off their nose, like despite their face kind of thing. Like I think they need to look more at a quarterback in the draft with that 11th overall pick. A trade for Jimmy G, I just don't think is a move the Commanders need to make. With that said, does that franchise have a history of competent decisions? Not really. So I could see them doing it. But the Steelers, I think, make more sense. I think the Steelers made the playoffs this year. I think the Steelers with Jimmy G would have won a few more games. Team was good around them. Just Ben was no good. Sure, this is referencing. Okay, so from Jacob, how does the market's perception of rookies after events like Senior Bowl? This is a really good question. How does the market's perception of rookies change after events like the Senior Bowl and Combine? Are there common over and under corrections to be aware of? What do you think about this?
I mean, it is a fantastic question. So I feel like the Senior Bowl, I don't know if much changes. I feel like more info gets leaked and we could get more of, a perceived notion of, like the Malik Willis Steelers report, we could develop a floor, like I said earlier.
Correct. Yeah, it's not the Senior Bowl itself. It's the articles that are published after it, the mock drafts, how they change after it. I don't think that your average Dynasty player pays attention to the Senior Bowl, so it doesn't move the market. But I would say the mock drafts that come out after it do. So the Senior Bowl. The Combine, though, that definitely does. That moves the market in itself. I think your average Dynasty player does pay attention to the Combine. Because your average Dynasty player is a hardcore fantasy player. So they do pay attention to the Combine. So things like times, 40-yard dash times, they definitely do. I mean, I remember it. Vaulting certain players up and pushing certain players down.
Yeah. Totally.
Ed seems to agree. He doesn't seem to see a lot of movement from the Senior Bowl unless a bigger name really stands and highlights someone. I think he's talking about a bigger analyst.
I think Malik Willis moved up a lot after this weekend.
I do.
I think that's it, though. That's it.
I think he's the one who broke through that area, but no one else, I don't think, really.
No.
Combine, you'll see some movement. Ed says, I totally agree, but depends on what happens. And then he also says that he expects Mr. Trubisky to go to the Giants to compete, like I said. And I totally see. The Giants need a real backup to Daniel Jones. It cannot be Mike Glennon. And we have a trade from Jacob. So 106, 107, 201, and Bateman or Burrow, 12-team Superflex. This is really easy, right?
I'm taking the
Burrow,
quarterback.
right?
Yeah, taking the quarterback.
Not even close.
There's no elite assets on the other side that you're giving up. 106 is probably the best asset that you're giving up, and it'll probably be a receiver. Probably,
but we don't know. But either way,
you don't know.
Either way, all of this other stuff is, is a
Nothing
lot of
premium.
Whereas Joe Burrow is a stud quarterback, so we're going to go with a stud quarterback essentially always.
Yeah.
But well, let's see. Yeah. So I'm good wrapping up the show at this point. We've gone a little bit over time, but not that we have any time limit on the show.
No, there's no time.
The Kamara incident definitely took us off. I don't want to say off topic, but it took time to talk about it. But I just, I will discuss that more on AskDLF on Tuesday. We should have more information at that stage. But other than that, you want to tell the people what you're working on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting that rookie content grind. I'm gonna get into it right after the Super Bowl starts. You can find my tweets down here at @RyanPros_FF. And I don't know, do you want to close it out with a score prediction for the Super Bowl?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we'll do that after I tell the people where to
of course.
Like and subscribe. So yeah, if you're on YouTube, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If the button's red, hit subscribe. And then if you're on podcast, we're still not on Apple, hopefully soon. But if you're on Spotify, follow the podcast and like each video and leave a review if you can. I don't know exactly when you're allowed to leave Spotify reviews. You have to listen to a couple of podcasts before you can, but leave us a review. That really helps people find us. That's actually probably the thing you can do that helps the most. And YouTube comments really help drive people to the video. So those two things. You can find me on Twitter there. You know where to find me. Patreon. You know where that is. This was definitely a difficult show for me. I get emotionally passionate about. I'm probably more emotionally passionate about real life. Jacob says, "Thanks for the content. You're welcome." I probably get more emotionally passionate about real life stuff than I do fantasy. So I just appreciate everyone sticking through this show while I live reacted to the Kamara stuff. And I hope it came out okay. If it didn't, I'm sorry. I tried to strike the right tone. I always try my best. And but I'm a person. And it was live, so I just hope it came out good. Yeah, let's get that score prediction. Let's close on that.
Well, I'm gonna go 28-24 Bengals. I'm the Magic one more week. Joe Burrow's that guy.
I'll flip you and go 28-24 Rams. Just fun.
I hope the final score ends up on that, so we can have a little bit.
It would be hilarious if it did. We will bookmark this moment. If it ends up 28-24, we're bookmarking this. But anyway, thanks to everyone for watching, listening, however you consume this. And we will see you next week. And I will let you know when the show's coming out because it will not be on Sunday. But it will be soon.
Everyone's going to be busy on Sunday. It's going to be a great day.
Yeah, I will see you in about a week. Peace.
See you.